They tell you the United States Postal Service is a business that needs to break even, while they systematically dismantle the very infrastructure that makes it work. Think about that contradiction. The people at the top claim they're saving the mail by letting your local post office crumble, the roof leak, and the windows break, all while paying themselves six-figure bonuses. This isn't just about a peeling coat of paint or a drafty lobby. This is about the sanctity of the zip code. For millions of Americans, especially in rural towns and working-class neighborhoods, the post office is the only bridge to their prescriptions, their Social Security checks, and their connection to the modern economy. When the government neglects the physical walls of the USPS, they aren't saving money, they're abandoning you. Today, we're watching a masterclass in accountability as the facade of fiscal responsibility gets ripped away to reveal the truth: gross negligence. Pay close attention to the pivot because the excuses start right now. Watch this.
We will now move to the gentlewoman, Ms. Randall. You're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I represent the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, and in my district, like I'm sure many across the country, we've seen how the closure of a single post office can disrupt an entire community. Folks rely on USPS for service, for connection, for medication, for so much more. Last summer, the Martin Luther King Jr. Post Office in Tacoma closed suddenly due to reported water damage. Since then, residents and small businesses that rely on dependable mail service have been concerned, left without clear answers about when it will reopen. When the Tacoma City Council raised this issue with our office, we followed up with USPS and were told that the Postal Service was working with a landlord to assess the damage. My understanding now, based on updates from the city and the property owner, is that the roof repairs have been completed and the next step is mold mitigation to be carried out by USPS. But still, like confusion, no clear timelines for reopening the facility. For people who rely on the post office every day, it's more than just an inconvenience. It's an erosion of trust in a service that they rely on. Now, to be clear, like I want mold mitigation to happen in the building. I don't want employees to be working in a water damaged and moldy space. But Mr. Steiner, when a postal facility closes due to damage, what timeline does USPS follow for assessing damage, initiating repair contracts, and completing repairs?
Sure. Obviously we'll look into that specific situation, but you'll hear me say this a lot. We're not proud that some of our post offices look like third world stores. We're not proud that we have 40-year-old trucks going through neighborhoods. We're not proud that we can't give every single one of our wonderful carriers a brand new uniform, but we have to make trade-offs. We are running out of cash, and we have to make trade-offs. And so every day we need to make the determination, are we going to keep the cash to keep the mail being delivered, or are we going to go fix a post office or buy a new truck? It's why I'm here today. We would absolutely love to have pristine post offices throughout the United States. It is our face to our customers. We don't have the cash to do it. We would love to have brand new trucks driving through the neighborhood safely. We don't have the cash to do it. And so, we'll look into that specific instance, obviously, and we'll get you some timelines on it. But I think we do have to have that conversation of where are the trade-offs, right? Where can we make those trade-offs at a time when we'll be out of cash in less than 12 months?
Absolutely. And I wonder, this might be one of the trade-offs that you're contemplating. What percentage of USPS facilities are leased versus owned? And does a reliance on leased facilities make it harder to complete some of the maintenance and repairs that facilities may be facing?
Yeah, I think the number's about 60%. A good portion are leased rather than owned. And it's, as we look at I keep saying that everything is on the table. We have to look at those leases and see which ones we can keep, which ones we can't. And when we talk about trade-offs, I like to look for cost-free trade-offs. So to take the example of your post office, Our rural communities and our smaller communities, some of them might not have an urgent care facility, or they might not have a bank. Can we co-locate with them and bring more than just the Postal Service to that community? Bring an urgent care, bring a bank, bring the other needed things so that we can get lower cost of rent, and we can also bring other things to the community. Those are the type of, I love cost-free trade-offs. Those are the kind of great cost-free trade-offs that we can get. Would love to look at doing one in your community.
Absolutely. And I'm really proud that our district office shares a building with a post office. It's a great way for folks to get all their business done when they come to visit us. Now, the last thing I want to raise is the politicization of the Postal Service in the way that it's being used to attack the ability for our neighbors to vote by mail. My constituents have long relied on mail-in voting, nearly 2 decades in Washington state. And with the continued attacks on mail-in voting, I think one of the things that's being undermined is the trust in the Postal Service. And I'm out of time, but I just wanted to raise that our constituents are so grateful for the work of USPS to ensure that you get our ballots to us and then back to the auditor's office so that they can be counted, and preserving the ability for USPS to do that work is so important to the people of Washington state and Americans across the country. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What you're seeing here is the direct result of managed decline. For years, leadership has prioritized high-level logistics over the actual retail points where Americans interact with the government. When Representative Randall presses for specifics on repairs, he's highlighting a massive maintenance backlog that treats the local branch as an afterthought. For a working family, a closed for repairs sign isn't a minor inconvenience, it's a broken promise. Republicans love to frame the USPS as a failing business, but it's a public service mandated by the Constitution. By forcing the USPS to operate on its own revenue while simultaneously blocking the funding needed for capital improvements, they create a starve-the-beast cycle. Democratic oversight here is trying to flip the script. You cannot have a 21st century economy if your physical touchpoints are stuck in the 1950s. Let's talk about the stakes. In zip codes where the nearest big box store is an hour away, the post office is the lifeblood. When officials dodge questions about repair timelines, they are effectively redlining service. If the roof is leaking on the sorting floor, your mail is getting damaged. If the heating is out, the workers, your neighbors, are suffering. This is where the efficiency talk hits the reality of human struggle. Notice the stress time deflection from the official. The strategy is always the same: cite a comprehensive plan to avoid answering a specific question. Randall isn't letting them off the hook. This is what real oversight looks like: refusing to accept vague timelines when taxpayers are footing the bill for incompetence. We are seeing a demand for a line-item breakdown of where the Delivering for America funds are actually going. The Democratic framing is clear. The USPS is an investment, not a cost center. To fix the mail, we have to fix the buildings. We need a postal service that looks like the superpower it represents. By holding these officials to the fire regarding physical repairs, we ensure that the USPS remains a stable, reliable employer and a cornerstone of American life for the next century. If you believe the post office belongs to the people and not the privatizers, then stand with us. Like and subscribe to The Erickson Gideon Show to keep holding the powerful accountable. Don't let them go quiet. See you in the next one.